Alice in Chains, Dirt. The best album to emerge from the Alice in Chains discography. And you know how I always talk about my top 10 favorite albums of all time? Well, this album is in that top 3. This album and I go way back to when I was just a little kid and we had this album on cassette tape. Not to mention all the radio play. This album brings me back, man. And besides the nostalgia factor, which plays a big part for me, the album is an epic journey unto itself. And it's just so big and so dark and just such a juggernaut of a record. It was the band's second full-length LP after Facelift, and has become, both to myself and to the masses, the absolute staple in the Alice in Chains history. The recording of Dirt took place in 1992, and it's almost like the band and company knew what a big deal this record was going to be. I mean, their producer, Dave Jordan from the original album, wanted to come back and work with them again. Jerry Cantrell brought in his old amp that he used back when he was a teenager for the recording process. Apparently it had some of the heavier distortion he had ever worked with before, or since. It's just like the feeling of the record was, we have something special here, man. Let's make this album awesome. And of course, the big story of the production process for this album was the band members collectively were going through some very difficult and strange times. Lead singer Lane Staley, may he rest in peace, was going through some heavy drug use, heroin use, a heavy phase of depression, and in my opinion, this is why the album contains some of Laley's most profound and dark lyrics. The other members of the band were, of course, struggling with things as well. Jerry Cantrell was taking Xanax and going through a bunch of depression spells. His mom had died, one of his closest friends had died. In a nutshell, the production process of Dirt was just a very rough time for the band. But in the end, because of all the trouble and all the turmoil the band members had gone through, Dirt turned out to be a masterpiece. And like I said, pretty much the staple of their career. I mean, this album spawned 5 radio-played singles and got massive radio play. Tracks like Rooster, Them Bones, Angry Chair, Wood, and Down in a Hole. All of them epic, epic tracks. And like I said, all of the trouble this band went through making this album only added positively towards its final product. This album as a whole dealt with depression, anger, antisocial behavior, drug use, war, death, and too many other emotionally charged topics to name here. But this album is bigger than life, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. This album just hits the mark for everything, from lyrics, to sound, to engineering, to execution, everything. In the end, I'm going to give this album a perfect score. 10 points. 10 out of 10. 100% epic music from a 100% epic time that will forever live on in my mind. And I will always, always, always love and respect and cherish this album. Alice in Chains, Dirt, perfect 10.